Now, I think we need to have a very in-depth conversation about Kodak Black's recent actions. Specifically, we need to talk about the ugly truth about Kodak Black's behavior. Now, if you don't already know what's going on, Kodak Black has been getting a lot of backlash for something he said on an Instagram live session from yesterday. And the backlash is for a good reason, because what he said was regarding Nipsey Hussle's wife. Yes, Nipsey Hussle, who died less than a week ago, his wife. Without talking too much, let me play you the video, and then after that, let's keep on talking.
Lauren running that baby though, she gonna be out here single. She gonna be a whole widow out here. I'd be the best man I could be, fuck. I give her a whole year. She might need a whole year to be crying and shit. For dude though. I ain't trying to shoot at her. I'm saying, listen, look. No, she could do 2-3 years, but I just try to be I try to be like, if you need a friend to holler or soda bean or you can call my line.
Now, if you didn't hear or understand what he said, here's a transcript I wrote down of what he said. Lauren London, that baby though, and then right after that, he actually said something else that I couldn't really understand. But then he continued and said, she finna be a whole widow out here. I'd be the best man I can be for her. I'll give her a whole year. She might need a whole year to be crying and shit. I ain't trying to shoot at her, aka I'm not trying to shoot my shot at her. She could do 2 to 3 years. If you need a friend or a shoulder to lean on, you can call my line. Now, it wasn't exactly what he said word for word, because Kodak is extremely hard to understand when he's speaking sometimes, but in a nutshell, this is pretty much everything he said, just like you heard in that video. The crazy thing about this is I'm seeing a lot of people who are making excuses for him, saying that he really only wanted to be her friend since Nipsey is gone now. But if you have half a brain and you heard what Kodak said and you look at the context of what he said, aka she's that baby though and I'll be the best man I can be for her, then this is not a question of did he disrespect Nipsey Hussle. This is a matter of why the fuck would you say some stupid shit like that? This man passed away less than a week ago. He hasn't even been buried, and you think talking about his wife like that is a good idea? It's kind of crazy how this is coming from a rapper in hip-hop. I mean, you would think that he would have at least enough common sense to not say something like this about one of our own who died less than a week ago, but apparently not. Now, Kodak actually did actually, I don't even want to call this an apology. It doesn't really seem like an apology to me, at least, and yeah, I guess this is his definition of an apology, and this is what he said.
If I disrespected you, Lauren London, in any shape or form, I'm sorry. Even though I didn't. And rest in peace to dude. Y'all already know what I said. I said dude encouraged me to do shit for the community. But anyhow, my bad to them too. But for all you other people like trying to fake act like y'all love boying me on the internet or checking me on the internet.
A lot of people are also trying to cancel Kodak Black, and to be honest, if I'm gonna keep it all the way real, next week is gonna come around and we're all gonna forget about this because some new shit is gonna pop up. That's how things like this work. It's really not even gonna change if I talk about it or DJ Academics or Diamond's Live. Like, a lot of this shit is just gonna keep on happening. Rappers are gonna keep on saying stupid shit, and I'm gonna keep on covering it, and I'm gonna call them a fucking dumbass every time they do. Honestly, I don't really have that much to say about the situation than I've already said, and I wasn't really gonna cover this, but a lot of people were sending me the video of Kodak saying what he said. So yeah, now you know what I think about this. Kodak Black is a fucking idiot for what he said. I mean, extremely whack move. The man hasn't even been gone for a week and you're out here talking about his wife like that. It's just a shame. So really quickly, just in case you're listening to this video and not really watching it, because a lot of people watch my videos like that, on this next part it's gonna sound like the video is about to end, but it's not ending yet. I think there's around 5 more minutes of commentary. Just wanted to remind you just in case you were about to click off this video. But anyway, enough talking and let's keep on talking. And I also want to add this in before I end this video. You gotta realize one thing about Kodak Black, and by the way, this is not me making any excuses for him, but Kodak Black is a street nigga, okay? He's a street guy who found success in rapping, and now he has all these millions and millions. He's famous, you know, he's successful at what he does, but at the end of the day, despite all of his success, nothing has changed. He's still the same reckless street guy he was a couple years ago. If we're gonna, you know, be a little bit honest here, it really just doesn't come down to him being stupid, although I'm kind of contradicting myself here. But what I'm trying to say is Kodak Black comes from a very specific life. You know, what he's gone through, I cannot relate to that. Him going on that Instagram live session and saying what he said, it shows a person who carries a very flawed character. It shows a person who has a different kind of mentality. I mean, a normal person doesn't say some shit like that. Obviously, when it comes down to morals, Kodak Black has none. And there's a lot of people like him, but the only difference is they're not famous, so you're not gonna hear about him. And I'm saying this to, say this. Unfortunately, I don't think Kodak Black is ever gonna change. I really don't think he's gonna transform from, this reckless street nigga with a lot of money to something greater than just that. And obviously, this is not me just talking out of my ass. I mean, we've seen all the problematic things Kodak Black has been involved in, and you can find all that with a quick Google search. Time after time, he's been throwing his blessings away, and until he really loses it all, aka he goes to prison for a very long time because he did some extremely stupid shit, or unfortunately, he realizes it way too late and he dies as a consequence of his actions. And that's maybe what it's gonna have to take for him to change or not change. And by the way, I know this is a way deeper conversation than just this incident right here, but really I want you to look at the situation and don't just look at the surface. I mean, try to analyze it a little bit deeper. How come 21 Savage and Kodak Black grew up the same way, but 21 Savage is a way smarter person? He's making great decisions that favors his rap career in the long term, something Kodak Black probably has forgotten because he's so much in the moment. I mean, Kodak, you're not gonna be relevant forever, so you might want to use the time you have wisely. I mean, just look at what 21 Savage said about not wearing jewelry.
I stopped wearing jewelry for a couple of reasons. One is because everybody wears jewelry. I outgrew it. Another reason is because the richest people that I've ever met in my life, they never had on jewelry. Every time I meet somebody who's very, very rich, like wealthy, I never seen them with jewelry on.
Do you see what I mean? Here we have two people who are in the same position, but they're making two completely different decisions. Of course, I am actually generalizing when I say that they grew up the same way. Obviously, they don't have the same exact story, but I think you get the point here. 21 Savage is the kind of guy you give $1 million and then he gives you $1 billion back. Kodak Black, on the other hand, he's the kind of guy you give $1 million and he gives you 0 back. Now, do you remember this video right here of XXXTentacion FaceTiming Kodak Black? To be honest, watching this video was extremely hard for the simple fact that X was coming from a very serious place while Kodak Black was not. X was talking about things like avoiding bad energy coming into your life. X was talking about things like controlling your mind and kind of taking control of the monster inside of you. Now, keep in mind, this is an extremely deep conversation and these are things Kodak Black probably needed to hear at that moment. But what does Kodak Black do in the middle of that conversation? He laughs.
Like you already know what it is, bro. You got a demon running around you, fam. And bro, it's not funny, fam, because a nigga wants you to be safe, fam. Yeah. You in control of what's going on around you, bro. Just please be conscious, fam. It be the animal in us that drives us to do the things that we don't, that bears consequence. It be the mind that can
that ego shit. But you know what? It be like nigga go to getting heartless, bro. Cause sometimes dog, we show more love than we get back. A lot of times, bro.
Because we the ones with all the love. We are the ones with the love, fam.
Yeah, we got all the
when love don't come. You know when you fucked up. You know when you fucked up really with the love is when you started giving niggas money.
Me?
Yeah, when you start giving niggas money, that's when they fuck up the relationship. And I've noticed that. It could be like little small shit. Like if a nigga hungry, you know what I'm saying? Like, alright, bro, you can come to my crib and come eat. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Obviously, it's very clear to me that, X was coming from a place of, hey, I don't want to see you fall, my brother. I want you to do well because we're two rappers in the same culture, aka we are peers. So I'm going to give you this knowledge in hopes that you take it in and you act responsibly. I'm bringing up that video to point out the fact that Kodak Black wasn't ready to change when X gave him a helping hand, and he's not ready to change today either. And that's really the ugly truth about Kodak Black's behavior. It doesn't seem like he's gonna change anytime soon, and unfortunately, that might just be the thing that puts him in prison for a very long time, or even worse, in the grave.